Hey everybody, it's Leanne and I'm back with DFJ.
Hello.
Oh, we got an interesting one today, haven't we? There's been so much has happened this week.
Since Monday, when there was, I think I put the number, we were at docket number 588 by the time we were finished with our stream on Monday.
Yeah.
And now we're up to 661.
I know, and stuff was even coming in while we were streaming. It was really insane. But I'm back on dry land for a start, so that's important.
Welcome back.
Thank you. Thank you. I needed that trip. So Donna Bolin, the wonderful Donna Bolin. Actually, I'm not sure if she discovered it or not, but I found it through her video, so I'm going to give her credit. But if that credit belongs to someone else, then, obviously, credit them too. But so Donna found something, didn't she? She found a bit of a discrepancy in the text messages.
Yes, and it's so funny because right before we started, I had made a list of all the things that went down this week, and there's like 10 things on there. And then I get on with you, like literally 10 minutes ago, and this just happened. And so, yeah, go ahead, show them.
But how are we going to do? Should we? Okay, we'll pull up. How about we look at the actual the side by side first, and then I'll play Donna's video as well because I want people to see that. Right. It would help if I screen share. I can't get to grips with this. Share screen. Right.
And the thing with it. Oh yeah, here we go. This is crazy.
So I'm just gonna. Right, there we go. So hopefully everyone can see that. At the top is Blake Lively's original complaint. And this text message on that complaint is purported to be from Jen Abel. And she has quoted the words in it in the complaint at paragraph 163. And basically what the text message says is, I'm assuming that this is not true in the slightest. This girl is on a very dangerous crusade to more followers. Bear with me, it's so small. Either way, we have flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. We'll monitor heavily for any shift in narrative seen based on this narrative, re My Last Days, and any other commentary on it. And that was a text message that was, it was alleged by Blake Lively to be from Jen Abel. However, yesterday, Blake Lively released a whole bunch of text and email chains that were previously sealed. And in one of them, I can't remember what exhibit it is. Can you remember what exhibit it was?
Yeah, it was exhibit 28.
Exhibit 28, right. So that is the 8th of August text chain. And you can see this exact same message, but it's not from Jen Abel, it's from Katie Case, who is one of the tag employees. This is Katie Case as in Case and Coslow, who are having that back and forth over the subpoena.
And Jen is Jen is on that chain in this bottom one. It's like a whole chain, and so Jen Abel's on that chain. So it doesn't even make sense to think that like Jen copied it and pasted it and sent it to someone else because and in the 163 it says in response to the article. And so in the second exhibit that we just got yesterday, which by the way, I thought those exhibits were from Wayfarer because I thought they favored Wayfarer. And I thought today they're from Lively. I was like, why? This is crazy.
So Riley, we got this one from her original complaints before her first amended and before her second. we could look through that, couldn't we? Like when we not here tonight right now, but me and you, DFJ, we could spend time going back through the complaints, start comparing some of these. I bet CJ would get into that. Like it really screams CJ, doesn't it?
Well, I also have both of the redline, because both of the redlined portions were an exhibit, so I had those downloaded, and so we can definitely check those at some point. But I don't remember seeing like a whole text chain, because being deleted from there. It was number 163.
Yeah,
just see. But yeah, I mean, I'm not surprised. Are you?
I'm not surprised, but I'm just, because this actually segues this quite nicely. So I've got a super chat from Justin Smotherman. Thank you very much. It is possible. We're not ruling anything out here that Jen Abel could have cut and pasted that into another text. The reason I'm a little bit on the fence about that is the time of the text messages is almost identical, because if you look at we were just talking about this, weren't we? The times on the messages, and the messages that are in the actual complaint are
it's like universal time code or something. I mean, I've seen it in like a lot of those like crime cases where they check the phone and you have to add time or whatever. But the thing that to me that says that this is from the other chain is because it says that it's in response to that article. And so for the exhibit that we got yesterday on exhibit 28, if you go down, they're responding to an article, and Jen Abel and Katie Case. Well, I call her, isn't it Katie Case Coslow?
No, I think it's Brianna.
Oh, Brianna Coslow. Okay, Katie Case. So, but they're all on this chain, so it doesn't make sense that this would be sent to anyone else.
Yeah, because if you actually look at the text chain, Katie Case is actually responding to an attachment. There's an attachment just above this message, which it looks like she is actually responding to. But also, if you adjust the time zones, you look at the time zone at the message that's in Blake Lively's complaint, and then you amend that to take account of, I don't know, American time, I guess.
It's GMT time. It says, like, on the top of the second document, it says times are shown in GMT minus 04 o'clock, whatever that means.
Well, I'm GMT time. Which ones are?
That's on 28. So it just says, so I guess these times it just says are in GMT, and then next to it has like a minus 04. It looks like 04 hours. I don't know, 04 o'clock. I don't know how to translate those time things, but either way, I mean, this is all about context also. And I'm not surprised, because I feel like we've seen this before. And, like when they were trying to take the Friedman statement about Madison Square Garden out of context, like they took it completely out of context, only said part of what he said. And then Gottlieb also says, like, Friedman suggests, and then he'll put like it in italics, but not in quotes, which is like really, really, and then so he'll use the word like suggests and then italics. So it looks like he's saying that it's a quote when it's not. And it's just very tricky. And I don't like it. I don't like any of it.
And there is, they already established, even right at the start when Wayfarer released their original complaint, that a lot of these text messages that were put into the New York Times and Blake Lively CRD, they were manipulated. So I think at this point it's not impossible, but it's not. We can't rule out that this has been manipulated, because other text messages have been manipulated, and I don't know, the time zone difference seems to, when you adjust all that, it actually seems to fit. So it's the same date and time. And I think like you said as well, DFJ, in Blake Lively's complaint, she refers to the text being a response to an article, and that is exactly what Katie, I'm getting confused now, Katie Case was doing when she made the comment originally. So I'm not sure. It's possible. But then we've got another comment, actually, from Ali C. I think Blake altered Jen's text, not Stephanie Jones's. That's why Ezra said they had no metadata. And that could be, again, very plausible.
Yeah, but I feel like it's more likely. Okay, so I did a video on this week. It was kind of a disaster. It was my first like longer YouTube video. And then it would only let me do 15 minutes. So I had to like chop it all up to try to make it shorter. And the whole conclusion of it was that I feel like Stephanie Jones, this is all allegedly in my opinion, but I feel like because she had access to the iCloud for Abel, I feel like she might have been able to like manipulate things. I don't know how, but like, you know, I can like drop something in my iCloud for like documents or something. And I wouldn't know if like someone else had access, like they could do that. I don't know about like altering actual messages or anything. I don't know if that is actually something that could be done. I don't think it could for iCloud, but I don't know. There's just something seems very, I don't know, it seems very off here.
Can I, there's a bit of back and forth in the chat, so I'm just going to, because Mildly Mercurial says Eastern is -5 hours, and Virtual Tourist says it's -4 hours. In the summer, we are on British summertime, so we're actually 5 hours behind. When we put the clocks forward again an hour in September, then we will be 4 hours behind Eastern. To clarify, and these texts were obviously sent in August, when the 5 hour time difference would have been, if assuming that we're going on, you know, kind of UK time. Because I said a minute ago, oh, I'm on GMT. Normally, you know, for half of the year I'm on GMT. Right now it's BST, British Summer Time. So just to clarify that, because there was, well, I'd like to say I'm an expert in that, but I'm not. I always need Lara to like, Lara, what time is it? Well, what time am I going live?
The universal time code one, what I think that said like +0 or something for
Deb Claudio actually says UCT time is +8 Eastern time, which would actually make sense with what I was thinking. Because one text said the 8th of the 8th, and the next one like at 8 o'clock at night, and the next one, I don't know.
Yeah, no, that would make sense.
Yeah, I had it figured out in my head, but yeah, that makes some sense to me. Because the text in the complaint then was like the following day, but if you got a time difference, that makes sense.
Yeah, you guys are making us do math. Like,
I know. Well, I actually had this, right? Because when I emailed Brian Friedman back in January, and I said, oh, you know, I found metadata, the October 31st metadata, and I was like, oh, here, you might want to look at this. His complaint, when they amended the complaint, my email said the 28th of January. But then when I saw on the timeline, he was like, and on the 27th of January, you know, we were made aware of the metadata. I was like, what? But I found it on the 28th. What's going on? And then I realized then I'm 8 hours ahead of him. I completely forgot about that. So, yeah, I've kind of been and done this rodeo a few times. And I think it is the same message. And on the minute as well, like, because the hours would change, but the minute is almost identical.
That makes a lot of sense. Your chat is very smart. I think people following this case, I honestly have to say, I think are like extremely like intelligent and like fact gathering type people, because we see it like the sleuthing has been incredible. The motions to quash, like I mean, it's like they could not pick a dumb person if they tried. Like everyone did such a good job. And so I love the people following this case. Everyone's been so supportive. But I think you guys figured it out. I do think it's the same. Like you said, I think it's the time makes sense. So now we just need to figure out why it says Jen on Blake's document and it says Katie Case on the other document.
Yeah, that's true.
How many others how many other mix-ups are there like that? I mean, that's kind of like a little crazy.
Yeah. Well, I think that's something worth looking into.
Yeah. And just a little side note, where was it? Dr. J said something funny. She's like, oh, like, the doing the video was hard. Yeah, for me, it was so hard. Leanne, you would have laughed if you had seen what happened because I made it unlisted? Like I made it so it's like, it was posted, but like you couldn't just see it. It was unlisted because I just wanted to make sure the video didn't look like too crazy. And I sent it to people and then they're like, no, you can make it public. So I made it public, but I said like now, but I didn't realize that like Premiere was checked. So it went live, like it gave like a notification and it went live like a Premiere and had a chat. I've never done anything like a live or a chat or anything. I thought it was just going to post. So I had like a chat open. I was like, oh my God, I'm going to look so stupid because like there's going to be like no one in there, whatever. It was a whole like faux pas. And, but people were so nice. Like some people came in and I was like, you guys are so sweet. But,
yeah, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, it was a disaster, but it was a video on why I think, and I said in there, I think Stephanie Jones, because I was like, why is Blake Lively so obsessed with Case and Costlow? And I was like, it's like Stephanie, I felt like, in my opinion, maybe like somehow like fed that to her. So like Blake takes out her competition because her issue was with Tag and Melissa Nathan and Jennifer Abel.
Yeah, I think there's all of that as well. I also think that there's some of Blake Lively's obsession. I personally think Stephanie Jones is the one that fudged the messages. I do. I think she's that kind of personality, allegedly. Mm-hmm. But I also think she had an axe to grind with Jen Abel and Wayfarer. Doesn't take rejection very well, per her Glassdoor readings, reviews even. But also, I think the obsession with Case and Coslow now is maybe Blake Lively is also connecting the same dots and going, hold on a minute, these messages you said were Jen Abel wrote and I'm suing her for. She didn't write them. And it could be that. It could be a lot of things. Yeah. I'm really going to quickly answer this though. It's actually 5 in the summertime, just to clarify that.
Yeah, right. That's like way beyond my pay grade. But no, I think what you just said though makes sense because remember when I brought it up to you last time on like when was that, Monday? It feels like it was a month ago.
Yeah.
And I was like, why is Lively so obsessed with getting these messages from Case and Costlow? And like what you said makes sense if they're not adding up, you know, like if it looks like they were edited to look like they're for Jen Abel when they were not.
Yeah, no, exactly.
Wow.
I think that's what's going on. I was going to play a bit of Dana's video though, because again, like we got the moment where she actually found it. So I really wanted to sort of share that because it's nice. It's nice for her to sort of discover this. So I want to make sure that it's recognised. Plus, we all love a bit of Dana, don't we?
Yeah, she's awesome.
So I'm going to blow that up. Hopefully, let everyone
said this.
Can hear this.
Let me screen share this instead.
Can you hear this?
In response to the article, Miss Abel said, "I'm assuming this is not true in the slightest. ... Either way, we've flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side." Okay. However, now that we're seeing the actual texts, do you guys realize it's actually not even written from Jen Abel? Are you saying that Blake Lively's original complaint completely changed who wrote that text? Are you guys seeing what I'm seeing? This is insane to me. It's a completely different text message, meaning it's the same words, but it's not even from Jen Abel. Reminding you, it's actually written by Katie Case. I'm assuming this is not true in the slightest. And then it says, this girl is on a very dangerous crusade to more followers. Either way, we flagged to Jed and his team for more serious action on the social side. What the fuck? What the fuck?
I love Donna.
Yeah, me too. And you know what? Did you see that other filing? It was on the Jones Abel docket. If I can find it, I'll send it to you. But so
the one docket I haven't looked at recently
was that one. Well,
the Jones one.
Well, I was just going to say, because so Case and Coslow for Lively, you know, they let Lively do the extraction on the phone. And at that time, Stephanie Jones had stopped responding about wanting to like subpoena Case and Coslow's like phone information. Like they kind of had put it on hold, never followed up. And then 4 months later, after discovery had finished with Case and Coslow for Lively, then Jones did a motion to compel for data. And they said it seemed like she was waiting to see what Lively got. I mean, and it is kind of weird. It's maybe nothing's going on there, but just so many things kind of like make even more sense.
Yeah, no, I know. It's wild. It's absolutely insane. Yeah, personally, and I think I've said this all the way through every X post I always do on Stephanie Jones. I use, where I can, Cruella de Vil gifts, because she gives me that vibe. She really does. Honestly, she gives me those kind of vibes where I'm like, she's like this powerful woman, female boss, but deep down there's some kind of air of evil about her. And, I have no problem, allegedly, believing that Stephanie Jones would happily make a coat out of puppies.
Yeah.
I mean, not literally, but figuratively. Mm-hmm. The glass, when I did my deep dive of her, it was eye-watering. Just even the employee reviews, on Glassdoor were the worst ones I've ever seen in my life. This is not like, I mean, I really think at this point, Business Insider article on her is not even defamation. I don't. I think so many people genuinely believe that she is an awful person to work for. Yeah, I don't. I get a vibe, but I don't like about her, and I do think she comes across as very manipulative. I think she's been the catalyst for the whole thing, and I do think that she manipulated Jen Abel's messages. I think she was well aware of what, she was in the midst of the entire the PR crisis management. She was only kind of shut out of it at some point in August. She'd been
July 31st.
There we go. Then so it was like, as close as you can get to August. So it was like she was involved in it, and kept in the loop on everything up until that point. Mm-hmm. So there was no, smearing going on behind her back that she had nothing, she knew nothing of, and she was suddenly shocked when she saw messages. And I think it was Anita also pulled up that some of the messages in Blake Lively's complaint, where you've got some of the messages to and from a redacted name. All of the ones where Jen Abel is corresponding with Melissa Nathan, both names are unredacted. But then you've got others where one of the names is redacted, and it's Jen Abel is corresponding with that redacted name's messages. That redacted person is Stephanie Jones. And then you've got that other text message then, that one about it shows they love to hate on women. Both Blake Lively and Stephanie Jones use that separately in each of their complaints and, try to persuade the judge, the same judge, that it's about them. Like, just Stephanie Jones is using that message and saying, well, Jen Abel is saying this about me. And Blake Lively is using the same message in her complaint and saying, Jen Abel's talking about me.
Wow.
It's the case is just, it's crazy. And if Lyman doesn't see that, then there's something really wrong with it.
He doesn't.
No,
I don't even think he would think that that's possible, to do. But it is possible to do. And especially because, like you said, I mean, we know that she got the data from the phone on August 21st. And that same day she called Leslie Sloan called Melissa Nathan and said, we've seen the text and you're going to be sued. And so, she had some time to, with whatever she got, maybe to do some manipulation. And at that time, I mean, I guess it makes sense. Maybe she put maybe she changed the phone number for Abel or for Case to show up as Abel. I mean, or assigned Case's phone number to Abel so that all of those messages would be Abel as well, just because her target at that time was Jennifer Abel.
Exactly.
And it was tagged, but it wasn't these other two girls that I just couldn't figure out why they are going so hard at these non-parties. And I have to apologize because I accidentally called them third parties, and they are non-parties, and their lawyers repeededly put at the bottom attorneys for non-parties. So I made that.
But we know why. So we obviously know why Stephanie Jones has beef with Jen Abel.
Mm-hmm.
We know why she has beef with Wayfarer. I did actually sleuth it out, and she has beef with Melissa Nathan because Melissa Nathan was going to start a job at Jones Work, and then didn't.
Yeah, she didn't want to work for her.
She didn't want to work with her. So Jones then cost her a client. She interfered with something and cost Melissa Nathan a client. That's why Melissa Nathan doesn't want to work with her. Now, I also said in my post, when we were talking about the subpoenas, and I think the response to the motion to compel from Blake Lively, she kept saying, well, why are there, the privilege log thing that's going on at the moment? And she kept saying, well, why did they need a lawyer? Why did they need to retain counsel before my CRD complaint on the 20th of December? Between August and...
Because August 21st, she said that they were
exactly. That's what I said. In my post, I specifically said, well, hold on a minute. Leslie Sloan called Melissa Nathan, not Jen Abel, Melissa Nathan, and said, expect to be sued.
Yeah.
So why would they have not?
Exactly.
So legal advice. And because now you look at how the text messages, so these weren't a one-person message to another one person. These were changed. You can now see why all these people went and got legal advice, because they were told, we have seen your messages
and you'll be sued.
And there are many people in these messages. So actually, all of this tells me is that phone call actually happened.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. And I think they have record because they have it in the timeline.
They have the phone record, but now all these actions tell me.
Oh, that was said.
That what was said.
Yeah.
Was said how it was said.
Mm-hmm. No, it makes so much sense because, and if you look even in the privileged, was it the privilege log where those are the dates. It's right after, it's exactly that right after August 21st is when there's some privileged communications. And then again in December, because then, and it's so sad because in one of the exhibits from yesterday. I think it was Case was like, well, I'm glad things are, it's the holidays, things are going to be winding down for the next 3 weeks. And it's like, little did they know, right before the holidays is when like hell broke loose for them. And things haven't calmed down for them since then.
Yeah.
Famous last words,
So we were going to talk about Jed Wallace as well, weren't we?
Yeah.
His motion to... I'm still laughing at that. That was so good.
No, me too. And actually, here, I have a list. This is so funny because, like, do you want to know what happened this week? Okay. We had the Jones versus Meta ruling. We had the Jed motion to dismiss. We had Perez Hilton, I said ×5 because there's like 5 things. We had Case and Coslow things. We had Isabella Ferreira went MIA. We had the judge say, just seal it yourselves and stop clogging up my docket. And then we had this like bomb drop of these texts from Abel that are actually from the police. I mean, crazy. So anyways.
Wow. Yeah, no, so I had a wild one. I did catch up largely. I was quite pleased. I hit the big things. So I feel more confident now. There are stuff that's still outstanding. I do need to cover the Skyline one is moving, so I'm just going to wait till that moves instead of doing a bunch of stuff which is going to become irrelevant. Tomorrow I am doing the Popcorn Planet, motion to quash, the thread now I'm talking about.
That one's good. I like that. That one's pretty good.
Yeah, I haven't looked at it at all. So haven't looked at the motion itself. I haven't looked at the responses. I'll be doing that tomorrow, and then I'm doing Prez's in Nevada.
His is really good too. I
was
really
impressed with his response to the judge, because given that his extension wasn't granted on the day it was due, I was like, oh God, he's really cutting it fine here now. What's he going to pull out the bag? And I did. I know Cassidy did as well. We both reached out and offered help to him.
That was so nice of you guys.
Well, it's just what you do, isn't it? Like, we didn't, because I was like, oh, I don't know what his legal knowledge is. I don't know if anyone's helping him or advising him in the background. The letter he sent in that was incredibly impressive. I was genuinely really impressed with the use of the case law, the citing of the statutes. He did really well.
Yeah, I think he did really good. And the exhibits, he put what the judge in Nevada said, that the jurisdiction is in Nevada, and and it was just the matter of serving, which that whole thing just drives me nuts, because remember, Perez, he reached out to them and accepted their service via email, but when he did it to them, they want to play games with him and whatever. He's such a rock star, and I hope he feels like all of our support, because I think he's doing really good, and no matter what happens, I think he'll come out on top.
I think to be fair, I really can empathize with kind of where he is to a point, because I didn't get a personal subpoena, but that didn't mean that the whole thing was not stressful. In some ways, I felt even more stressed than I would have been if I had a personal subpoena, because, as you saw, the responses when we were trying to challenge it, and we were like, look, can you quash this? Can you give us a protective order so this doesn't happen again? Can you apply sanctions? The response from Ezra Hudson was, well, these people have got no standing. We didn't even subpoena them. They were subpoenaing our data, but we were kind of treated as third-rate citizens, no, we're, it was almost like they were telling us to go and sit in the corner while the big boys talk. But it was our data.
Yeah.
And I think that fact got overlooked, but technically she was right. We didn't have standing because we were not participants in the subpoena directly. So from that angle, I felt less empowered than I would have had the subpoena been to me personally, because then I could have personally challenged it. I could have personally requested sanctions, could have personally requested a protective order. I did all those things anyway, as did everyone else, the 5 of us. But we knew it wasn't going to go anywhere because them's the rules.
No, that is a really good point. I didn't even think of it that way because, I mean, even though Google, like, or yours was X, but they told told you guys to file your motion to quash. Now it makes sense then. Ezra was like, well, they don't have standing to say anything about the subpoena because it's not to them, but it is like, but you guys still had to fight it. Well, I don't know. It still feels like that. Yeah, I would feel powerless. Like that was such a frustrating position that you guys were in. But Perez says in his motion to quash how he mentions in the Nevada one, I printed it, that these things are that they're obviously legally defective and unenforceable because they keep withdrawing them anytime anyone fights back.
Yeah. Well, that was it. Like, it just needed someone to challenge it, which then made you question, where was the good faith basis that you genuinely wanted the information? There was a genuine need for it. It was relevant to your case. If you were so willing to just withdraw it anytime someone said, I want to challenge this. It was, yeah. I mean, I don't know why the Google lot got told to file a motion to quash. I don't know why, really, because I don't know why. X didn't even say to us to do anything other than ring the ACLU, which was entirely useless information.
And to clear your cache.
And to clear my cache and cookies. Try turning my computer off and then on again. Yeah. I still have to put that together and post that. Like, well, here I queried a subpoena with X, and this is what the advice they gave me.
You should. Yeah. That's really good.
But yeah, so we had no help at all, none at all. So I mean, Perez does have some sway over his own subpoena, as does Andy, which is a better position than we were in, like collectively the content creator subpoenas. But I can understand how much of a burden this is for him, having to kind of file these things. The one thing, saving grace, I will say about Perez, though, is he does seem to be going through it, appearing like he's living his best life. So,
no, he definitely does. I keep saying I think he's gonna like turn this into some kind of musical and star in it and produce it called like Subpoena Gate or something. Subpoena Gate the musical, because the dramatic readings he has of his letters and how they change, and then he stops and he's like, hold on, I'm gonna edit this, and his transformation of being like having like proper court language. And
well, because like when I go live with CJ and on her morning shows quite often, and afterwards when the live's over, me and CJ would just sit there talking for another hour. Like, we use StreamYard as a bit of like it's almost like a Skype or a Zoom or something. We just sit there chatting. And she was actually brought this up, and she goes, oh my God, what if they made a musical or a film about all this? Who would you get to play you? And I was like, Emily Blunt or Emma Stone.
Yeah.
Or Keira Knightley.
Oh, that'd be good.
Yeah, I think so.
What do you think is going to happen with what do you think the judge is going to do? What Lyman's going to do with this? Because it was a cross motion to compel, but he told Perez to, respond regarding jurisdiction, but also I think he did include, because one exhibit we can't see, but I think he did include maybe his motion to compel. He definitely included the judge's order, or the judge's order from Nevada that said compliance is required in this district.
And I think that is the position, though, as well, is that the compliance is in Nevada. That was the point. That was the problem with the other subpoenas as well. Perez is right. And you need a proper transfer under Rule 45F, I think it is, off the top of my head. Like Blake Lively applied for with the Friedman subpoena. She couldn't just bring it back to New York because they disputed that. So she applied for she requested the transfer, and Friedman's firm, I don't think they took it too seriously.
Yeah.
They didn't really make an argument for it, and which is why it did get moved.
Yeah, because they only argued that it was improper and motion to quash, and they didn't, they didn't even argue about jurisdiction because the whole thing was ridiculous. And
exactly, it was. But Perez is quite vehemently because I know I said in a few lives, and he comes into our chat, and when I read my letter, and there was myself, there was you, there was CJ, and there was Raffle, the four of us on Friday night last week. Perez was in the chat, and I was kind of making the point of saying, he really needs to focus on jurisdiction. Yeah, and I was like, and he should do this and he should do that. Hopefully, he is doing that.
No, he did it. I think he definitely, I thought argued that really well. And I just wonder what the judge is going to do and when. Do you think he's going to do something today? Because, I mean, these things, I don't know. I just feel like I hope he says something today. But what do you think he's going to ultimately rule?
I don't know. I thought it was a very good motion. I think it hit many good arguments, actually. So I would like to say, and I say this cautiously because I'm aware that Judge Lyman does not go the way I expect him to a lot of the time, and he even goes against his own rulings. So I can't. If I was the judge, I would be saying this has not been properly transferred to me, and jurisdiction is in Nevada. And if Lively says in her own footnote she intends to request the transfer, so there is nothing to compel. So I'm not quite sure why she even did it.
Yeah, and also, so I was wondering, I don't know, what do you think? Do you think this would make a difference that Perez included the order from the federal judge in Nevada? So, do you think Lyman maybe would at least have a little more respect that a fellow judge says, okay, compliance is required here?
Yeah, I would hope so. I would hope that he would respect his, well, technically it's his peers.
Yeah, exactly. Because it's not it's one thing if he just, he wants his own courtroom to be a kangaroo court and rule however, Blake Lively tells him, in my opinion. I'm just joking, yeah. But it's a different thing when another federal judge has already said this needs to be dealt with in my court.
Exactly. And like I say, there's a proper process to be followed. Blake Lively has already indicated she intends to follow that process. So there's nothing for Lyman to do, really. So I can't see how he can compel a subpoena that is, compliance is not in his district. That's my view.
Yeah, and then to be because then he would have to bring up the issue that so he subjected himself to jurisdiction because he filed a protective order about these abusive subpoenas in the first place. It just proves the whole point of the subpoena gate. So yeah, but hopefully he would do that soon. Do it today.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, there's a comment here as well from Hens Homestead. Would love to hear Perez with Leanne and Cassidy and DFJ. Yeah, I would. Do you know what? I would love to have Perez on or to go on his show. I don't know. I'll ask him at some point.
He's so fun. I absolutely, I've been loving his energy and he has a lot of heart. If this was I think someone else said it there, if this was a sport, he would be getting a medal because he's gone up against it. And he's just, I think, said a lot of things people couldn't say and whatever. I know some people have their opinions on that, whatever. But when he was warned, then he complied and he's, I think, done a great job and he's got some of the best headlines and good for him. I'm rooting for him.
But I wouldn't say things the way he says it. I've said that the whole way, but that's professional etiquette from myself. Regardless of what you think of the judicial system, I'm kind of part of my role, my professional life is to uphold its integrity. Now, I'm not going to say derogatory things about a judge. I I go along the line a little bit more with Judge Lyman. One, because it's so obvious, and two, because I'm not regulated by any American bar association or anything like that. So I can cross that line or skirt it a little bit, but it's, I do try to maintain rules for myself. I'm not going to tell someone else like, oh no, you can't say that or anything like that. If your feelings are about this judge are a particular way, feel them, say them. I will. Quite often I'll say, yeah, I agree, but I won't come out and say, well, he's a this and he's a that and he's this. I will say, if you say something, I might come along and say, yeah, I agree with you, and that's as close as you're going to get me to say to give an opinion directly about this judge.
Well,
but I do think. I think there are problems, when Wayfarer are at a point where they are citing as much of Judge Lyman's decisions in one letter as possible. They are literally cramming them in. That is an incredibly difficult thing to do. So when they are there, they are at that point when they are using his own rulings to back up every argument they're making. In some cases, I've seen him use multiple decisions from Lyman to back up one point. And I've still seen him go against it, amazingly.
Yeah.
But that tells me Wayfarer believe that they're not, that there is something not quite right with his rulings. They've got to that point now where they don't feel secure enough to be using other judges' rulings.
Yeah, which is why I, came around to understanding, why they didn't file like a second amended complaint, because like, why would you when it's rigged? It's never going to work in your favor in this court. You might as well go on appeal, because for appeal, they have a gold mine of stuff that they can use. And so if they decide to go that route, but my goodness, with, the other thing though, with Perez, that is just, just to close up that point, is that obviously he is not working with Wayfarer, or they wouldn't leave him out to dry like this to fend for himself. Like if they were worried about, Lively finding that he had any sort of like coordinated, whatever they're calling it, untraceable smear campaign, they would have made sure he was like protected and lawyered up. So like, it's just, the whole thing is just, it seems like a farce. Like we're just watching this like insanity going on. No,
he didn't.
But he requested it.
We're talking about Perez now, aren't we?
Yeah, they said, did he get Blake's deposition transcript? He did request it. He didn't get it. He got something else that was sealed.
Yeah.
And
we don't know why. And he's written to agree, to reaffirm that he will abide by the confidentiality, which he really does have to. Sorry, excuse me. I got a sore throat today. I'm looking for questions, but there's not many. If you've got questions, please do put them in the chat and we'll answer them. Should we quickly go over the Jed Wallace though? Summarize that one as well.
Yeah, let's do it. Let me pull that one up. I printed it. So like, I'm not even kidding. I've done cases. You can like see on my profile. I've done cases and highlighted like documents, for like so many different cases. This one is the first time it's like hurt my hand. My hand hurts from like screenshotting and like highlighting. I had to start just printing and highlighting by hand because there was so much going on this week. So I printed the Jed Wallace one. It's so entertaining. I'm gonna like put this as like a coffee book table for guests.
If you look at some of the I'm just pulling it up now actually, because I did his motion to dismiss yesterday. I threaded up. It took me all day. It really did. It was it just took me all day. It was crazy. I'm just going to show you just one of the, like, I was laughing that much that my highlighting was just an absolute disaster. It really was. And somehow I highlighted everything. And then, I don't know if you can see here, I must have gone down it with like the eraser. I've got a stylus on my phone, so I use a stylus. I do like it's a pen across the screen. And that's how I get the lines straight. But for some reason, honest to God, I was laughing. At some point, I must have switched to the eraser and then got down, and I couldn't put it back. And I didn't want to go back through and then go line by line by line again, because it was actually incredibly hard to even do this. And I was making such a mess. Like, you look at this one, right in the middle of the screen there. Like, there's a line on the yellow line. These supposed over acts. And then underneath, I've highlighted nothing because I was laughing so much.
This was one on your phone?
I did, yeah. I always do it on my phone. I screenshot page by page by page, highlight what I want to highlight, change colors and everything. Then I email in batches of 4, so that they're in the right order. Then, because the posts only hold 4 hold 4 images, so then I line them up. Line the emails up in order so that when they go into the thread, they're in order. And then I just, like yellow means and then I say what I kind of talk about what each color, what it's about and all that. That's how I do it. It's actually an incredibly time-consuming way of doing it, but I think it looks the neatest and the best way to do it for me.
Yeah, no, I mean, yours is really good. I screenshot and then each one and highlight, or sometimes I can highlight it in the PDF and then I screenshot, but then it's like all over like the desktop, and then you have to make sure they post back in order. And then sometimes I mark them up on them. But like by the end, literally like 2 days ago, my hand was just like cramping. I was like, I do on a laptop. And I just was like, I have to just start printing these and I'll just do it by hand and read.
I've got a question from Riley. Hi, Riley. Thank you for the super chat. What would be the reasoning for Blake Lively to suddenly be asking for documentation on how he got the movie rights to It Ends With Us and It Starts With Us? In all honesty, I'm not sure what the relevance is to her claims. I don't actually understand why she's asking this. The only thing that I've got in my mind is she, and this is just a theory, is she trying to prove that he wasn't, that his goal was not to bring awareness to domestic violence, trying to disprove his male feminism kind of thought process, or or try and prove that he wanted to market it as a rom-com,
That was so crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Do you have any idea why?
Well, I mean, I'm not exactly sure what request this was, but so I do know that like one of the ways that Lively could have gotten rights to this movie, like to get Baldoni's like rights to the movie taken away, is if there is like an SH claim against him, then that can like negate the contract. That is like a California thing that happened during like the whole Me Too thing. So like if she was just, maybe she wanted a copy of whatever that their contract was, to be like, okay, to see if it was like specifically said like she just needed to make a CRD, or like if it had to be founded, because then she could challenge his rights to it, and then she could have gotten it.
Yeah. That could be it actually. I mean, it's really hard to know, but I mean, on the face of it, I can't see why it's relevant to the claims that she currently has in her second amended complaint. So
yeah, I mean, that kind of shows motive, like if she wants the contract or something, that I think that, I don't think she cares, and Lyman's not going to question her. He's just going to be like, give her whatever discovery she wants. But I do think that is what it's for, because I mean, at this point that she spent so much money, why doesn't she just why doesn't she just buy rights to a different book or something? Are there no other books out there?
Well, and that's the question. I mean, you have to assume that she's read the book, and she didn't. So,
Yeah, I mean, that's the question. I mean, at this point that she spent so much money, why doesn't she just buy rights to a different book or something? Are there no other books out there? Well, and that's the question. I mean, you have to assume that she's read the book, and she didn't. Oh, well, and yeah, that's true too.
Yeah. I think she really saw something in this where, like, you can see why she's thinking, oh, florals, and you know, I can do my booze, and it does fit in if it wasn't about domestic violence. Do you know what I mean? Like all the use of the cherry blossoms and everything, and all the floral stuff, the marketing, right, actually looked quite nice. You know, that whole pop-up thing, and the drinks and everything, like they all together, it looked visually quite nice. And for marketing the alcohol, it was great, but this was the wrong film.
Yeah, and in the Pop Diaries Motion to Quash, they put one of their exhibits was a picture of the drink menu for this domestic violence movie that was like While You Wait or something was the name of one of the drinks, and he's the guy who supposedly was the abuse, did the abuse. So it was just so tone deaf, and even in all the exhibits from last night, like I was so tired and so delirious, like I thought it's almost funny to think back now that like those were from her team, because I thought that for sure was Wayfarer, because they had filed something yesterday saying that they had a technical issue putting their exhibits up. So I thought that all these were from Wayfarer, because it shows that they were talking, and saying like what a disaster this marketing with the alcohol is, and how she thinks this is a rom-com. You can see it organically develop into and see the bigger picture. So I was like, what the hell are they thinking? Like posting all
this. Exactly. Agatha was asking what happened with the Van Zandt case. When are we going to see the metadata? I don't think we're going to see it unless there's a dispute. We're not going to see it right now. Things are only going on the docket. All the evidence I'm talking about now, that's only making its way onto the docket if there seems to be some kind of dispute that needs to be settled by Judge Lyman. Otherwise, we're not seeing it.
Yeah, and also the thing with Van Zandt, so this is on the Jones docket, that did grant Abel the motion to compel for the Van Zandt data between Jones and Van Zandt or whatever, and that was due, I think, like yesterday. So actually, I should check that docket and see if everything was actually turned over, or they probably asked for another extension, I'm guessing.
Probably. Lisa's asking, was there a morality clause? No, there wasn't. That has been confirmed by Colleen Hoover herself, actually. There was no morality clause, so it does not matter what happens in this case. Justin won't lose the rights to the films. Virtual tourist, what is the likelihood that the subpoenaed popcorn fan will get the New York Times communications he has asked for today? Highly unlikely. Just because he's been subpoenaed does not mean he's going to get various privileged and especially if it's sealed information. I don't think Perez will either. I don't think he will get the transcript of her deposition, because these people are not parties. They've been subpoenaed, that's it, but they are not parties to this case, so they don't get access to documents that are reserved only for the eyes of either the attorneys of parties or for the parties themselves. So I think slim to none. Trying to see, is there any other questions here? So, and I think Christina is right here. I think she did think he optioned the movie rights, but he did not. He bought them outright.
Yeah. It's just crazy.
Oh, Annie. Hi, Annie. That's a load of bollocks. Everyone say morality clause. Yeah, there was no morality clause. That's been confirmed by the author herself.
Well, there was also, I forgot you wanted to do the Jed Wallace. Who was it? I think it was Cassidy and Lauren were reading it whenever it dropped the other night. It was so funny. Like they were laughing because there's like literally an emoji in the like in the document, I think it's the first
Oh
emoji.
yeah, that was so funny.
We've seen in the filing, he's like, New Yorkers don't put wink emojis, like, because it's getting that ridiculous now. Like,
I know.
it's obviously, even the lawyers are like, why are we here? Like, jurisdiction is not you posting an Instagram photo of you in New York. Jurisdiction isn't you thinking that Jed Wallace knows that you're like quoting some song or whatever it was. Like, in your Instagram post, like about your jeans or whatever the hell it was. It's getting like, we're at the level, like even the lawyer is like, I think, kind of conveying to the judge, like, this is insane.
There was no, I love Charles Babcock. Honestly, he's like the grandpa I would love to have. He's such an amazing guy. The guy is like, his 70s, I think. Like, he's quite an old man. But you know when you got like he's proper feisty papa that
Yeah.
you're like, yeah. I'm just quickly gonna read this, but he dropped some tea as well, which is new. Yeah. Glow loves books. Thank you for the super chat. And keep her I think that's meant to say entitled backside away from my favorite books. Amen. I totally agree with that. I'm going to pull up. I'm going to pull back up actually my my post on this motion to dismiss, because I called this one up.
Oh, Cassidy found the quote, "Blue jean baby, New York lady is literally the worst evidence I've ever seen." It is.
No, it really was. Well, where is it? Bear with me. Sorry. Is it post 2? Oh yes, here we are. Right. Right, here we are. So I'm going to share my screen again. I'm going to try and share my screen again. So here we are. Try and make that bigger. Hopefully everyone can see this, right? But this was amazing. In yellow. There we go. Just right under the purple there, first line. Furthermore, Lively's theory that everyone, at least Wallace, knows she lives in New York is belied by her Texas lawsuit, where she swore that her address was in Los Angeles.
Oh, yeah.
So in Texas, she's saying, she's swearing blind, well, everyone should know I live in New York because I posted about it on Instagram. And then in Texas, she's saying, signing declarations, no less, saying my address is in Los Angeles.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean,
this woman can't stop lying.
And yesterday they posted a copy of her CRD, and it says like, name, date, and then it says like state of where they live, the reporting party lives, and they didn't even fill that part in. I was like, wait, so you're not even going to say like New York? Like, doesn't everyone know you live in New York? You're not going to declare jurisdiction on this? You're just going to leave it blank? I just thought that was, and this was from her, one of the exhibits from her yesterday.
Yeah, exactly. This was, I mean, I was as I was going through, I was like, no, at that point. So no, how can she? He's in the same lawsuit as she's with this guy in Texas, but he's also in the lawsuit in New York. She's arguing about jurisdiction in both. Does she not think that at some point someone's going to point out the discrepancy?
Yeah, and then Candace Owens. So not everyone knows that Lively lives in New York. Like, because Candace Owens thought that she's like super basic and from California and has never left California. So like, it's just kind of funny. Wow. So yeah, that was a good one.
It was. I thought I was suitably impressed with that. Well done. Because this is the most important thing, right? And this is what needs to get in front of Lyman is like, well, hold on, Judge. She's saying one thing here, but over here she is saying something completely different. They can't both be true. I have no doubt she owns property in both California and New York. But which one is her address? And it looks like she is doing like an old, the kind of the switch and bait of choosing her address to suit her.
Yeah, and if we're like getting, conspiracy theorists, or I can't even talk anymore. Conspiracy theorist, is that a word?
Yeah, we'll go with
the
it.
whole Van Zandt thing, because like remember there was like Van Zandt Inc. and then Van Zandt Incorporated, and all of this. I mean, Jed Wallace would not even be in this lawsuit if it wasn't for Stephanie Jones and Van Zandt, like, because Lively wouldn't have even known about Jed.
No, exactly.
It was because of all these messages that he was dragged into this. And so, but the whole Van Zandt thing, it's like, so that's how all of this data came about. But apparently the one that was involved in the lawsuit is in New York, but Blake's name is on the one that's registered in California. So how, it doesn't make any sense. Like, I don't even know if her jurisdiction is in New York.
Hi, Casti. Did you, if you want to join us, I can send you a link. Just let me know. No, she's, yes. So we had a lot of fun yesterday I had a lot of fun going through this. I always do, though. I love the Jed Wallace filings.
Mm-hmm.
Both Charles Babcock and Joel Glover are seriously so funny. They're so quirky, and they have a great sense of humor, and you need it as well with this, because
I think it. And they're Texas lawyers, right? So I mean,
yeah.
this kind of like BS of someone trying to establish jurisdiction by this, like these fantasy whatever she's coming up with, is absolutely. They're probably just like have no patience for this stuff, and you can tell it like comes through. They're just like, so it is really funny. And like I said, I don't mind that now I've started to print some of these, because like I'm literally putting that with like my coffee book tables and or my coffee book. What are they called? Whatever, the books that you put on your coffee table. I'm adding this to it so people can read it.
Magazines?
Mm-hmm.
That's what we put on our coffee tables anyway. Hi, CJ. Again, if you want to join, I can send a link. Oh, the girls are turning up.
I felt like CJ would appreciate I almost feel like I'm going down the conspiracy theory route, and I hate doing that. Like, I'm so the opposite of that, which is why I like streaming or with CJ, because then we'll bounce things off each other like that. And I'm always like, it's always the simplest answer, none of these crazy conspiracies. But here, this is so insane, especially with what we saw when we started the stream with the texts that don't match. I'm like, what is going on with Stephanie Jones? Like, why is like Lively? Do they have the same data? Like, how, I have so many more questions now, but I think that there's like more to this with Stephanie Jones.
Sean, same. I've upgraded to a dining room table now. I don't even have a coffee one anymore, but it's still surrounded by crap, basically.
I can't think what the name of it is called, but those people like make books just to put on the coffee table, and I forgot what they're called.
I don't know, because when I use coffee tables, I'm usually out somewhere, and the books that are on them are called menus.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I don't know. It's like I have Friday brain. I can't even think of what I'm saying. But and then also there was the Jed Wallace declaration. What do you think was blocked out in that? Did you read the declaration also?
I'm gonna have to refresh my memory. I don't know. I may have just done the actual motion. The declaration it might have been his medical thing.
Oh yeah.
Because that was blocked out before in declaration. It was about his medical condition. Glow loves books. Again, thank you for the super chat. Everyone is under the assumption celebrities live in California. Everyone is under the assumption. Oh, yes, I think that's fair, especially in like with Hollywood. Yeah, it is easy to assume that they all live in California. I guess that's a fair comment.
Yeah, and I heard Nag say yesterday, or not actually Golden, say yesterday that she thinks Jed Wallace has the best case to kind of like take on Van Zandt, which is crazy because I think Jen Abel does personally.
I thought she said, because I agreed with her, I thought she said Stephanie Jones. Because he would not be in all of this had it not been for Stephanie Jones.
Stephanie Jones, yes. So, so maybe it was just for Stephanie Jones.
No, it might be Van Zandt as well. I can see that too. But it was Stephanie Jones who, I'm assuming that our theory is right, and Stephanie Jones handed over the messages before Van Zandt was even a thing. And then Van Zandt was obviously come in to launder the
evidence laundering.
Evidence laundering, yeah. So we can, then that would be entirely Stephanie Jones's fault.
Yeah, that's true. Well, I mean, whatever it is, if it means like we get more Babcock, like Charles Babcock fighting it, I'm all for it. So I support it. And I hope that he takes on anything and everything. Coffee table books. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So maybe that's just what it was. Thank you. Jen Abel.
Yeah, no, exactly. So we had a lot of tea in the motion to quash. Wow, that was so funny. I've never seen such an argument, 30 pages of hilarious arguing over jurisdiction. And I'll tell you, my end assessment is she's got nothing. She has nothing to keep him in. In fact, her second amended complaint, I think, weakens her arguments now versus her first amended.
I think so too.
I think it's so ridiculous.
Yeah, and at this point, they have so much discovery, and they still haven't shown anything at all.
Yeah, exactly. And it's like so one of the things Babcock says. I mean, that made me laugh, and there were so many, but it was this quote: "The second amended complaint, not the post." So he's referring to the post. Lively, I've just taped an interview on Live with Kelly and Mark, ABC. Yeah. So the second amended complaint, not the post, informs us that this is a reference on to having just taped an interview on Live with Kelly and Mark, an ABC talk show that tapes in New York City. Of course, if Wallace knew that Lively was on Kelly and Mark, and if he knew the daytime show tapes in New York, and if he knew what date the show taped, and if that date lined up with some conspiratorial act, and if Wallace knew about that act, plaintiff may have made a small point. But all it is add up to a speculation and a conclusory allegation. That point, right, I think I put in my post on X, I was like, at this point, I had hiccups from laughing. It was so funny.
Yeah, it's exactly. No, I think that whole one is so, yeah, I mean, everything is just, there's something else too. I need to find, I probably don't.
It was like on page 7, there was like all in the footnotes as well. It was like Wikipedia on Eastern time zone. And there was like a whole thing. Well, no, like the effort that Charles Babcock went to explaining what Eastern Standard Time means, how many states it encompasses. I was genuinely impressed because I can't believe she's sitting there and making arguments of, well, this email or this phone, this text message was in this time zone, so there we go. It's proof. Everyone knows I'm in New York.
Yeah. Yeah, because like she's in a time zone that like a third of the country's in. Like it doesn't, yeah.
And the interesting thing is, right, is there was one point where Lively even tried to say, well, X and Twitter, same thing, X and Instagram and Reddit and all these other things have got offices in New York. And I'm sitting there thinking, oh, hold on a minute. But when you subpoenaed them, you sent the Google one to California and the X one to Nevada. You didn't send them to New York.
Yeah.
Even though the X one should have gone to Texas, actually. She sent it to the wrong place. Well, in fact, in my case, it should have gone to Ireland, but that's a whole other argument. You know, that's the argument I made in my motion to quash. But if you're going to sit there and go, well, you know, he accessed these sites and they've got offices in New York, so therefore personal jurisdiction of New York applies to him, which would be ridiculous in itself, because then it would apply to me, it would apply to you, it would apply to anyone who uses these things then. And that is just absurd. But I couldn't help but think that there was a double standard in that she didn't subpoena the New York offices for our data.
No, I mean, that's a good point. Although I think on the Google, because I remember when I was looking this up, like they want you to go through their California, like whatever process servers there. I'm revealed to New York because I watch Friends. I know. And that's how ridiculous it is.
Well, I actually put in the post about this. I was like, oh, I'm going live with DFJ, you know, for the Q&A session, blah, blah, blah. I'm doing it at 4 p.m. Eastern. And then I put in brackets by Lively Logic, and I call it now Lively Logic. That means now that New York has pure personal jurisdiction over me.
Well, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I think that the Jed Wallace one definitely was a good relief, especially because it came in after the Jones versus Meta, which, like, I don't know if you saw my post on it, but like it was that ruling is such a sad day for the First Amendment, in my opinion, because they agreed to unmask the users behind the Pinterest and Meta account that had the same logo as the StephanieJonesLeaks.com, even though those accounts didn't post anything. They literally just had the same logo. And I guess like the Facebook one had the website. And because it had a link to the website and she's claiming the website is defamatory, that the judge said that they could be unmasked, like that they could reveal who the users behind it are. And it's so crazy because it's like they didn't even say anything. Like they didn't post anything. They had a logo. Like people use different people's faces and logos all the time. On X, I've seen people that use like the logo for X. It doesn't mean that they're working there or have anything to do with them. So, and she already knows who is behind the website. And I didn't realize this until Monday, but she's known since January who the former employee's name who's behind StephanieJonesLeaks.com. And she never added her.
Is that Rosa something?
No, it's the Courtney Ingle. But she never added her to her lawsuit.
Oh, that's interesting.
Because, you know, she's also suing like John Doe 1 through 10. So if she's claiming that there's this, like, because she's also claiming that there's a smear campaign against her. And so it's like, well, why didn't you add that person, you know, going like that you've known about since January? If you're saying the site's defamatory, I don't know. It just doesn't make.
No, it doesn't make any sense at all. It is weird. I've got a super chat from Tammy Hoshiyama. I hope I've said that right. Thank you very much. Is Team Lively going for getting Lively versus Wayfarer dismissed at summary judgment so they can say they didn't give up? I think they're both going to attempt to. I think they're both going to file motions for summary judgment. I think Wayfarer will as well.
Oh,
what do you think?
I think they will.
I think that's coming.
I think they've already hinted at it, sort of.
Yeah. Which may be a way that they win this before they get into trial. Wayfarer now. I don't think Lively's going to win a summary judgment. I just don't think the evidence is there. And summary judgment is about the evidence. What's there? I don't know. The summary judgment day is on the deadline for the motions is on the 5th of November. So we will well, we've still got a few months to go because we still got the expert all the expert discovery has got to come first. Then I'm not sure. I think Lively. It's really hard to say. I think Lively will definitely file a motion for summary judgment. Do I think she'll do it though, just so that she can say she didn't give up? I'm not sure. I'm not sure.
So what do you think that, because for all these exhibits that came in last night were for her motion to compel, but like what? Why would she drop all of these? I mean, they're so bad. So many of us online thought that they were for Wayfarer, like not for her. So they don't really support her motion. But I don't understand the whole. So she has all of this, and so she thinks that now she should be entitled to like privileged communications. I don't really understand it.
No. Oh, sorry, this made me call my eye made me laugh. Thank you for that, Dr. Joe.
Oh, I'm glad.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what she was thinking. I don't think it's helped her at all. In fact, because we found that discrepancy, it's now raised questions.
It's now made it worse. Yes. And so now we can use all of those and double check it. But it also makes me question, okay, because obviously she's going to know, because she has like her whole team that is watching everyone, getting their subpoenas ready. But she's going to know that like now we know about this discrepancy. So do you think that she's going to eventually like turn on Jones? Like, why isn't she suing Stephanie Jones?
Who, Blake Lively?
Yeah.
Well, she might. That may come. It could come. If it turns out that Blake Lively has done all of this, filed all this stuff, spent all this money, and it turns out that Stephanie Jones has actually lied and, tampered with those text messages to give a false impression, then I could see Blake Lively going after her. I would. I think they're starting to turn on each other a little bit anyway, because, Blake Lively's referred to Stephanie Jones as a co-conspirator. I don't know why Stephanie Jones has got her head firmly up Blake Lively's ass. Honestly, she pleads her case more than Blake Lively pleads it herself. So I don't know why. I don't know why she's doing it.
She would have had a chance to turn on Jones in the deposition, because remember when Friedman asked her, like, what do you know about this like smear campaign? Who's behind it? And she said all she knows is like it's him and the Wayfarer lawsuit, the retaliatory lawsuit, she calls it, and then the rest is privileged. And then Ezra is like objection, like every other sentence. And so I was like, okay, why didn't you say then, like, that you knew any of this stuff? Because you would think that like Jones told her or told Sloan that like that Abel had set her up and that was a smear campaign, with giving her all these texts because that she wanted to take them down. So I just like, why didn't she say that? Or is that the privileged information? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I don't know. I just think it's weird. Yeah. Why didn't she mention it? Because like, obviously, how did she first find out? How did she even know to like subpoena Van Zandt to subpoena the unknown parties that for Jones? You know what does that make sense?
We know that because part of the subpoena, she was looking for information specifically that involved Justin Baldoni. So that was, it was Jen Abel's phone. That's too specific. I'm just going to quickly answer a few questions as well, because I've got a few now finally.
Yeah.
So Super Sarah's asking, will things quiet down with expert discovery? No. No, they will still be fighting over the document production and the depositions and everything. They will still be arguing about that. But then at this expert discovery point, they're going to be arguing over that as well. So I think things are going to get wilder. But we will get to see some juicy information and, what kind of experts they're bringing in. Have we seen those experts before? Like we saw Dr. Hughes, didn't we, from That Be Heard in the Diddy trial. So that was like, you get to recognize names. we all had flashbacks to how awful her appearance was in Amber Heard's trial. So yeah, we could have all of that, and we'll get to look up these experts, what's their background, what kind of things they do. It'll get more interesting, but it's also going to get a lot more complicated as well. I'm already finding it more complicated now to do these posts, because you're getting a lot of stuff, but then there's redaction, so you can't give the full context. You don't really know everything that's behind it, and then something might get unredacted a few weeks later, and then you got to go over it again. It's getting quite interesting now. But my thought process, I don't know about you, but no, we're a long way away from things quieting down.
Yeah, I think we are a long ways away from that, and we're probably going to get a lot of garden variety whatever. And the other thing I'm curious about too, that was like, because there are still those 60 content creator subpoenas we haven't heard about, or except for the one guy in Argentina.
Yeah, we got to hear about all of that too. What are those people going to do?
Do you think Fritz will file something where he can add those subpoenas to be public, since he did the last time? No.
Well, he might, to make them public. He might do that. He's got to have the right opening. I mean, last time it was, the motion to seal, and then Lively opposing it, and all the various other things, and then Fritz saying, "Well, fine, you know what? We'll just unseal it." And then he wrote a letter, which gave him the opening. He's got to be able to segue into it. He can't just dump stuff on the docket. We know this judge does not like that, so it's got to be relevant. Mm-hmm. If Fritz gets that opening, he'll take it. But if he doesn't, then he's not going to just file something. Joe's asking, can they both file summary judgment? Yes, they can, and I believe they both will. Okay, ladies, the only smear that's happening is that delicious salmon spread on some bagels. Okay, yeah, can't deny that. Moonlight, hi Moonlight. They've been drowning us in this docket. I get what people are saying. There is a lot of stuff going on the docket. I mean, Perez has filed about 20 letters this week. So, but when you think about it, there's a lot of parties. Although most of Lively side has been dismissed, on Wayfarer side there is still a lot of parties. So you got all the individuals, then you got the companies as well, the Ins with Us and Wayfarer Studios and Tag, and then you got on the the Jones and Jones Works as well, and Jed Wallace and Street as well. So there is still all of those people, and they're all up against, apart from Stephanie Jones and Jones Works, they're all up against Lively.
When will the judge rule on the motion to dismiss for Jed, do you think?
I don't know. I'm hoping he'll make it as soon as possible. But he's still going with Stephanie Jones's, though.
Yeah, I mean, because remember the first time he waited until like the last possible minute, 2 days before the deposition.
This is one of the most common questions I get is, when is he going to rule on a motion to dismiss? And the answer is, he has got no rules to it at all. He works to his own time limits. He prioritizes things. The judge has got hundreds of cases, and he will be prioritizing things in order of what's important. Like a motion to strike, it will be prioritized over a motion to dismiss for obvious reasons. And then on top of that, he'll be having to prioritize motions and letters and things for other cases. Some may be going to trial this week, next week, and he'll have to deal with that first, really. I don't know. I'm hoping that he will be fairly quick with Jed Wallace, because the arguments have been made once, so he's got an idea, he knows the background, and the new filings are not that excessive in that sense. I say that Wayfarer have obviously again filed answers, to Lively's second amended. So they're not filing motions to dismiss. And to be honest, I think if they wanted to, they could, and I think they would be granted. Myself, I've said that about her first amended as well. I don't think they're wanting to get out on a technicality, which is great for them. They want their day in court. They want everyone to see the evidence, and they want to win, not get out on a technicality. So all credit to them. But what their answers do is they lock in her complaint. Jed Wallace has obviously filed a motion to dismiss again, which we all knew was coming. I think she did nothing more to keep him in. In fact, I think that comment where, I think the sworn declaration from Lively might have even been included as one of the exhibits. I don't know if it was under seal possibly, but I think that was there. That was included for the judge to see, where she has gone to Texas and said, my residence is in Los Angeles. So if anything, I think that is going to make things even worse. I hope that once he's, I hope that if he's dismissed, it's with prejudice. So this ends the nightmare for him here, and he can concentrate on suing her in Texas.
Yeah, that will be good. Good for him.
And Hens Homestead asks, does summary judgment mean Blake wins? Only if the judge grants it. So summary judgment, basically, I think someone asked what is it in the chat, and I couldn't find it to bring up.
I saw that one, yeah.
Yeah, so summary judgment, basically what happens there is the court makes a ruling on a case without the full trial. And that normally happens where the facts are undisputed. So the reason that this is available is it allows the parties to avoid the time and expense of a trial by resolving issues that are based on the law. In summary judgments, they can be granted on the merits of the entire case or on specific issues within the case. So the judge may also issue a partial summary judgment to resolve some issues while leaving others for trial. So, yeah, if the judge grants summary judgment, potentially that's a win for either party because they can both file them. But we will have to see, and we will probably do an entire episode on that as we get closer to that as well, because we'll see with what comes out with the rest of discovery, and I'm talking about both the document and the expert discovery. Then we'll know more about what is likely to come in the motion for summary judgment. I usually send people to not actually Golden for the whole this is how that works and this is how that works. I just find that she explains it really well.
Yeah, I think she actually did do like I think it's like a mini little series, like a few videos about the stages of motion for summary judgment, and she has like a chart and everything. But I mean, what do you think about the fact that like Isabel Ferreira's, am I saying her name right? Lily. What do you think about her lawyer who came out and said like he was her lawyer who would be representing her for like this, this issue, just like blowing off Wayfarer and wouldn't accept the subpoena? What do you think about that?
I mean, I don't read too much into lawyers crossing paths because it happens all the time, but I do understand that he has gone head to head with Brian Friedman in a case before as well.
Yes, I saw that.
Yeah, and he's also been, I don't know if it's him or if it's his firm or something like that, was spokesperson for something related to Ryan Reynolds. Is that?
Yes, I saw that too.
Yeah, like there's a few, like I don't like to go, say, oh, well, because it could be perfectly a coincidence, and people professionally, it happens in the UK as well. We just cross paths. People know each other.
But it's just weird he didn't respond to the subpoena when he said he was representing her, and then at least respond and be like, I'm not representing her anymore. Like, just
well,
like
I had this with CJ as well. We were talking about the lawsuit involving Taylor Swift over the songs and the poet that's suing her. And we know that Douglas Baldridge is her lawyer, particularly for her like her music stuff. So, but they were trying to, like get him to accept service of a subpoena for her, for Taylor Swift, and he was just ignoring it. And I mean, I guess, I don't know. I haven't heard of that before, because in the UK, it wouldn't happen. You just, normally the lawyers would just accept the subpoena. But I'm not sure why they're not accepting the subpoena for Isabella Pereira. I don't know.
I have another question for you. So on Monday when we talked, I told you definitely you should read the case and Coslow filings, and then you did, and I saw your breakdown of them. What do you think? What do you think of their lawyers, and what did you think of that?
Oh, the boo-boo. Sorry. So is that the mistake where they accidentally released?
And then they said it was only like one text conversation or something.
Yeah, so I'm inclined to believe them that Lively has blown it all out of proportion. That's my first stance there. I believe that it's not as bad as she's made it out to be. I'll give her credit. I do not like praising Lively, but I have to do it where it's due. She did the right thing. She immediately stopped, her lawyers, but they stopped reviewing the documents as soon as they realized that there were counsel involved in these, so they could be potentially privileged. They stepped back, they contacted the right people, and then they deleted them.
Well, now they're saying they should have access to them.
But that's asking for it the right way. That's trying to obtain it correctly through the right channels. This is not another Van Zandt situation. I mean, in theory, she could have carried on reading them and then kept holding them and said, well, you handed them over. You sent them to us,
I don't know. It still seems weird to me that they, think that there's some kind of like smoking gun with Melissa Nathan's like 2 employees. It's like, you're suing Melissa Nathan. Why aren't you getting this from her? Like, they've been going after these 2 ladies since the earliest I saw, like their subpoena was back in March. And it just seems like it's like relentless. Like they think there's something there. And maybe they did get something with the Van Zandt, and then they're trying to like cover their butt and get above board with these subpoenas with these ones. I don't really understand it. But now we know that like the Abel and text and the what is her name? Chris, the case texts are like they might have been like switched around.
Now they have something they might be able to bring in front of the judge.
Yeah.
I mean, we know they're watching our stuff. We learned that this week as well. And with the content creators, our stuff, including mine. I got so excited about Zach's. I didn't even spot my own link. Like they were talking about one of my own posts right underneath it. So and now we know that they are watching us. They could well be listening, and that they may have picked it up themselves. Maybe that's what they meant when they were like manipulated, chopped and spliced and diced and everything. It may be that they've gone through some of these messages and gone, hold on a minute.
Yeah, I mean,
we don't know. What we see on the docket publicly is only about 10% of what is actually happening. The rest is all, behind closed doors. So we don't know what they know. And there are some things, like I know the post of mine that Jed Wallace brought up in the group text was, it was me talking about Lively had just released her first amended complaint. In that first amended complaint, it had the email that Lively sent to Christy Hall. And I was talking, like she had...
about the rooftop scene.
The rooftop scene, yeah. And I was like, okay, she's submitted a letter apologizing for for saying publicly that her husband wrote it. But in that first amended complaint, she also said an unnamed source made a false allegation or a false statement that Ryan Reynolds had written the rooftop scene. And I'm sitting there going, you are the anonymous unknown person who made the comment that your husband wrote the rooftop scene. Aside from the fact that we all saw that, and I used that clip to death and back, she also then added in her email apology for saying it without giving Christy Hall warning. Like her lawyers in their own first amended complaint have
contradicted. They didn't know about that email. Oh my God.
Yeah. But I picked up that and that's what they were like. They were like, oh, yes. And then they were talking about they're keeping a little file as well to do reports. Now, when they say forensic reports, I'm assuming this is because the expert discovery will be starting. You know, the experts will already be engaged at this point. They will be, so they'll be collating stuff to hand over to them. And, you know, this is what all of this is leading up to.
Well, another thing exhibit yesterday that Lively dropped was when they were talking about how that exact quote that she did on the carpet, and they they showed, yeah, maybe it was I don't know, but they just linked to like that interview, and they're like, what did they say? Oh, and that, he's a scab. He was like, right. So he took over the script that like a female, it was greenlit. It was a female person who wrote it. And then he took it over to do it better during the strike. So that makes him a scab. Yes. And it's like a violation of these other things. And when they first tried to pitch that story, I think it was to someone from the Daily Mail, she's like, well, I don't think our readers are really going to care about the whole scab story of him being, like crossing the line. But it was the writer from like Variety, I think, Siegel, Tatiana Siegel or something. And she's like, that's the big story right here. But then I looked up the article she ended up writing, and it was like buried in the middle of it, kind of like it definitely wasn't the headline. So she did mention it, but it was kind of, you have to really read through it to get to that part. So I don't know if that many people, I mean, I wasn't paying attention at that point. So I don't know how many people actually picked up on that, but I know people are going to pick up on it from her, like putting that out there in her exhibits yesterday.
Well, yeah, no, that's very true. And people, that people will be going back and looking over. This is why I think people like myself, CJ, we're glad we did these posts early on, because like before the legal stuff really took off, I was, same as CJ, I was just kind of like, well, what bits don't make sense? And, I pulled apart her 17-point list. And then I've got a whole post, which is from months ago, where I actually put it, in a thread. And then I got the requirements for the PGA credit. And it's like, oh, how many of these 17 points tick the box for getting the PGA credit? Nearly all of them. And I did the whole, this is how A gets to B on it. And stuff like that now is coming back round, because with all the information we've got and all the lack of evidence of any sexual harassment or smear campaign, people are going back and going, right, let's look at all this again now with knowledge we have today. And, or some people are only just coming on board now because, things are hotting up a little bit, especially with the content creator subpoenas, because that did actually get some coverage from both celebrities and in the mainstream. Not as much as it should, but it did get a little bit. And I'm finding that people are now, it's maybe the first time they've known about this case, and they want to go back now and see, well, what actually did happen? What were the allegations?
Can you still hear me? Liam, can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you.
Okay, because my screen froze, but as long as you can hear me, I think I'll be okay.
Can I? So Gigi's asked a question, and I had it here for a while actually. Sorry, Gigi. So to a lay person like myself, it appears like there's a lot of evidence discovered showing Blake is smearing Wayfarer. Could they revisit defamation?
Well, they can appeal their dismissed claim.
They can appeal it, and they could argue that there is a material material difference, like new evidence now. As a starting point, the answer is no, because they were dismissed with prejudice. But I think there's an argument there to appeal. That will come at the end of the trial anyway. Or I think they may be able to argue and say, well, there's new evidence now. Potentially.
Oh, yeah.
But it would be down to if Wayfarer want to do it. I think just because an option may be on the table does not mean Wayfarer are going to do it, because I can imagine that this is being a very hard process on them. Just the foundation litigation, and that appeals they are long, they are expensive, they are mentally and physically taxing. I don't know if they're going to want to do it.
Yeah.
They might.
Yeah, I was thinking that too. I was like, they're probably exhausted, and they want, I think they're definitely going to be able to prove, or what is the word, like clear their names with, just fighting against her claims, because she doesn't, like everything just seems to, that she doesn't really have anything at this point. I mean, let's think, like she had all of Jennifer Abel's phone. She has like over, 150 hours of footage of, from the set. She has what I think they said like over like 28,000 pages of documents from Wayfarer parties, and like she still hasn't found like this evidence of a smear campaign, and not to mention like this whole like the SH claims just completely fall flat, because remember it was like, oh, we made an HR complaint, but then it wasn't an HR complaint, and then it was like, oh well, word got back to Sony. And then it was like when Jenny Slate was like, well, actually, I don't want to be part of that. And and then so now it's just her claiming that like what he said, like her outfit was sexy. And then now Wayfarer, like they said that they have the video of what was actually said, which will probably just, disprove her again, like it did the whole like bar dance scene.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, do you know what I know they're not going to release. I know why. I think they're not releasing it because it was obviously closed set. And if they put it publicly, she's going to be like, well, see, I said that he had shown it to everyone, and look what he's just done. But I really am looking forward to hearing what the birth scene was like. I think that for me is going to be if something untoward happened, there'll be something in that. I don't believe it.
No, I don't believe it at all. Like, no, there's just, yeah. And I think that it will, if she actually has the, whatever, it, decides to take this to trial, I think it's even better for Wayfarer, because there's no way you're going to get 12 sane people to believe anything she's saying, and there's just no evidence, and it doesn't add up. And at least one in those 12 will probably be a survivor who will just be like repulsed by all of this. Like I'm repulsed that she thinks that saying the word sexy is like SH. It's not. Like just stop. Like you're diminishing what that actually is, and it's ridiculous. And her supporters who keep saying that, like they're making it everything worse for her. Wait, someone else said something. Oh, about Steve. I was going to tell you after the last stream, because remember I said I'm following that whole side thing with Steve Sorowitz and the guy who threatened him and did the arson at his house, whatever. I asked if anyone could go to that courthouse, and one of your viewers reached out to me, and so hopefully I'll be getting the indictment and some of the other documents soon, so that we can be following that.
Oh yeah, that'd be interesting. Definitely.
Yeah, because I think that deserves, like, it's just there's so much insanity in this case that like each little thing would be its own story on its own. Like what happened to him is so insane, and I think it deserves more attention.
I mean, this case, one of the things about this case that it is hard to follow. I've got an entire whiteboard. That's how I'm following it. But I'm literally like I'm sitting here and I've got I think there's 11 dockets. Court listener dockets open on my screen. There's 11 tabs just for that, because you got so many things going in all these different jurisdictions and all these kind of sideshows, with especially all the subpoenas and all that. It's just so much going on. But it also makes it interesting as well. Joe is asking, so if the judge grants summary judgment, Wayfarer filed, will that clear his name, or is it better to go away? So this is interesting.
I think that they're going to go all the way for the SH claim unless she drops it. I think that for sure they'll want that in trial, so it is out in the open and clears their name.
I mean, effectively, it is a win if they file for a summary judgment and the judge grants it. It is effectively a win. However, I think ideally I think they will file it, but I think if they really like, I'm thinking of a way to word this. Right, so obviously you got the summary judgment, that's a win. If they go to trial and win, that's a win. It's a better win than summary judgment, because then that's not one judge. That's, a jury of their peers.
Which will be a lot better than this judge.
Yeah.
Anyway, that they have a much better chance.
Well, I don't know. If they get granted a summary judgment by this judge, I would count that as a really good win. Because, like to get anything out of them right now is fruitless. But at the same time, right, I think they want to clear the name. However, I'll qualify that a little bit, because Johnny Depp obviously went to trial, in Virginia. He won. There are still so many people who still say they don't believe him. They think he abused Amber Heard, blah, blah, blah.
Well, they didn't watch the trial. And that's the thing. That trial at least was like streamed. So that's how there were so many people who do know the truth. And you had Taylor Lorenz, who I'm so glad that in these in the what were the exhibits from yesterday, the girls were making fun of Taylor Lorenz because she's insane. And she just, says whatever. And so she had in my opinion, had her own agenda about, reporting Amber Heard. She didn't even care what happened at the trial. Didn't even bother to watch it, just posted whatever. So, but in this one, there's not going to be a camera because it's federal court. So we're only going to know from whoever's inside reporting on it to know what happened. So we need to make sure there's more of Team Truth than there are MSM.
Yeah. No, absolutely. Virtual Tourist. The non-party from today is asking that Blake's retaliation claim be dismissed with prejudice, re First Amendment rights. So Justin Baldoni. Is that likely to work? No. And the reason is you can't plead a case for someone on their behalf. You just can't do that. One of the things myself and Cassidy in particular, well, I think many of us did, but when we wrote our motions to quash, for instance, one of the things we asked for was that the subpoena be withdrawn, not just for ourselves, but in my case, the ex subpoena, because if the request for my information was procedurally, improper, then it would have been for the other 19 people on the X one. So, we weren't holding our breath, but it was it was worth an ask in the hopes that the judge actually looked at it and said, you know what, this is so bad, I agree, and I'm going to quash the whole thing. But in reality, we knew that we didn't really have the standing to make arguments on behalf of other people. Ezra Hudson wrote that specifically to the judge, and the judge agreed with her. So, he obviously didn't have to quash our subpoenas because she withdrew them. So I don't think this person is going to get anywhere with this request. And I don't particularly find it helpful, in all honesty. Well-meaning, yes, but it's not going to help anyone, really. Because if Justin Baldoni wanted this, he can do it himself. They have a legal strategy.
Yeah,
they've already got a plan in place, and they are following that. So have people file these things that are going to be completely useless, just going to piss off the judge.
Yeah, I haven't
already given them a hard time. I think this is not helpful myself.
I have just thought of something else. I have another question. So now that we have that text that says that it's from Abel, but then we have the other one that says it's from Case, like the same one from someone else. Remember when the judge denied the Wayfarer motion to compel for Stephanie Jones and the Edgeworth communications? Can they now either subpoena Edgeworth for their version of the extraction now that we have evidence that whatever Stephanie, or I guess this is from Lively.
Yeah.
And I bet it was Lively's source, from Stephanie Jones, or is it from officially from the Edgeworth security? I don't know. I'm just wondering.
Well, we don't know where she got the stuff from. And my betting is it's all come from Stephanie Jones.
Yeah, I think so.
And I think the subpoena come after because, again, she's saying, well, we haven't got metadata, or the files are in the format because that's how I was given them.
Well,
already getting ahead of the excuses now.
Okay, well then can Jennifer Abel, because it says her name on it, and has her own, she has her own docket with Jones. Can she subpoena Edgeworth now and get their version of the extraction to prove that this is all?
She might be able to get it in another way, and I say this from personal experience. I've candidly spoke about my own phone being having there's over 70 apps in total on my phone at one go, either monitoring or controlling it. And at the end, when I finally got my phone back, because my ex-husband who did this is really high up for a huge firm in technology, and he completely he did this thing called flashing the phone, which is wiping it, deleting it, but it's unrecoverable. Even forensic extractions and stuff, they do not work. The police could not recover anything. But what he had failed to think about and consider here is the apps that he put on my phone, because I have a Samsung, and so therefore it's like a Google phone. The App Store has its own record, has a separate record of everything, of what's put on my phone through the App Store, what date and time it was put on. So we were able to help. It's not helpful, but because there was other evidence that proved that at the time the stuff was going on my phone, I was asleep, or I was, somehow, for some other reason, multiple reasons, I was not in possession of my phone.
That manipulation happened, yeah.
Yeah, and there was only one other person who could have put that stuff on and had that knowledge to know what the stuff did. So there may be other ways that
maybe, but I'm just saying,
hold of it.
But Edgeworth, they are the ones who did the extraction. They have that file. I mean, they can just compare it to whatever the file that Jones gave Lively, and then prove he manipulated it.
But they've got to get the subpoena. They've got to get a subpoena served on them that the Judge Lyman's not going to quash.
Yeah, so that's what I'm saying. Now that they have proof that there's these conflicting evidence, can they? Yeah, I'm just wondering if that would be enough for Lyman to now let them subpoena Edgeworth.
Potentially, it could, but we don't know if that's happened or not yet. We'll find out soon enough, I'm sure. But I could see it. I mean, they'll also have their own forensic expert in on all of this as well. So there'll be the expert evidence. The expert discovery will be looking into the phone situation too.
Well, that will be really interesting. I can't wait to learn
definitely
about some of that stuff. But wow.
Hens Homestead asked, can they ask the jury if they've been SH'd to get them off the jury pool?
Yeah,
potentially, yeah. They could, and it would be reasonable as well, if they've had their own experience, that it would preclude them from being on the jury. Because it may be triggering. It may instill like a perspective, a biased perspective. So they would be justified, I think, in asking the question, and that being, something that would prevent someone from participating on a jury in this case.
Can I answer vague and ambiguous's question?
Yeah.
She says, okay, did Lively or anyone who submitted screenshots include the metadata? So apparently, like, the data that Jones gave Lively did not have metadata, but like, okay, so for example, like Case and Coslow, the non-parties that worked for Melissa Nathan at TAG, they used the extraction company that like Lively hired. She like paid for it. So, and theirs looks like it has metadata. And then the Van Zandt, the company, whatever it's called, I guess the company like for Blake Lively, Jennifer Abel is going to get their version of the discovery that they allegedly got from Jones to see if there's metadata. And that was one of the reasons why that worked. It was because, remember, like Blake Lively's team like intervened on that motion to compel. Even they're like, we're not parties for Van Zandt. We're not counsel for Van Zandt. We're counsel for Blake Lively. And like, we oppose this or something. And they're like, just because there's no metadata on the stuff we got from Jones. But it's just like, why are you saying that? Remember when they just like announced they don't go here? That's when everyone's like, you don't go here. Why are you talking on this docket? Go away. But they, I don't know that discovery, I think it was like due like today. So
yeah,
it'll be interesting if that would have metadata. I'm guessing it won't, because I don't think they actually did another round of discovery I think they just did that afterwards to cover their butt, to show the New York Times like, oh, don't worry, we got all these cherry picked messages above board.
Yeah, that's true. Sean is asking, are we sure Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds had nothing to do with? I'm assuming that's Steve Sarowitz and the arson/kidnap threat. We have no idea. Anything is possible. I don't know. Ryan Reynolds has admitted himself he has a history of arson, so allegedly. But yeah, I mean, I doubt it. I do. I think it's just someone that's like an unhinged loon.
He does have a history of arson. I forgot about that.
He does, yeah. But not kidnapping, to my knowledge. I think it's just an opportunist who's like, maybe like a complete fruitcake of a Blake Lively believer, because that's how deluded they are, as they think they're going to get away with trying to extort a billionaire and steal, take his daughter. And it didn't get him very far. But I'm not convinced that they were directly involved. I think someone just took those words and used them. But that's the kind of harm that can come from words. When you say stuff like that and you just keep throwing stuff out there without any evidence that someone said it, and you keep repeating it, like she's got this thing about repeating stuff over and over and over again, and then she's like, it's like her whole untraceable, after months and months and months of putting it in every letter several times, in every filing several times, her using that term over and over again, the world forgot that Melissa Nathan ever said it. They all believed it come from Blake Lively. They mocked her for it. And then in her response to our motion to quash, she had to correct, the lawyer had to correct everyone, saying, no, hold on a minute. You're all making fun of her, but it was Melissa Nathan. That's great. But everyone thought it come from Blake Lively, because she uses it over and over again and makes a thing. And she did that with the whole, Steve Sarowitz, the billionaire, threatened to spend $100 million.
I I have a whole thread on that because it just drives me nuts.
And you know, that shifted, right? Because most recently, when she used it in a filing recently. Now, it's always been Blake, you know, to ruin the life of Miss Lively, right? The last thing I read was ruin the lives of Ryan Reynolds. You know, now it's no longer Blake Lively. That
Wait, her lawyers filed that?
Yeah, no, they did. I think I did something. I actually did the post, and I was like, well, hold on a minute now. Has Ryan Reynolds alleged sexual harassment? Did he speak out about it? Are they retaliating against him? What is going on here? Why is? I'm pretty sure it's her second amended complaint. It's going to bug me now, so I am currently looking for it as I speak.
Well, I mean, God,
I don't think I went too deep with her second amended because most of it was just, you know, the same horseshit she filed the other 3 times she filed a complaint.
Wow. Well,
I am really over her now.
I just think like for, you know, yeah, this, let's see. So there was just like 5 more things filed. I mean, there was 100 things, 100 docket items, filings that like came through since Monday. And I just, if anyone gets like bored this weekend, there's a lot of reading out there you could do and a lot of sleuthing you can do if you want to start, you know, cross-checking the second or the first amended complaint messages with all the new exhibits that we got yesterday and just seeing how many inconsistencies these are. This is one of the worst things they could have done for like the group of people following this case who are like some of the best mommy sleuths, daddy sleuths, like, you know, in the world. They have found so many things. And I just, that I cannot believe that those exhibits were from Lively yesterday. It's just so funny.
I've got it. So I'm going to screen share. Now just share my screen, actually. This is simple enough. Because I pick up on everything. This is my strength, right? Is I find the inconsistencies. I also got another post from the same filing where it's like, you know, here in New York is how she describes her birth scene and, you know, how her genitalia was nearly nude and had a small fabric covering. And here in Texas, she says it's completely nude, you know, and I do. That's
yeah, I remember hearing that.
But in pink, Mr. Rent, right? Just, you know, it starts in. I don't know why it's in 2 different colors here, because I don't know. Just a week before this creative suggestion to smear Mr. Reynolds, Mr. Sarowitz had posed for pictures with Mr. Baldoni and Mr. Heath at the opening of their Wayfarer.
Oh, yeah, they said Mr. Reynolds. Yes, because before that, they said something about her husband.
Yeah. And look, Mr. Sarowitz's proposal to retaliate against Ms. Lively by seeking to harm her husband's reputation, not hers. Yeah. We're not even alleging now that her reputation is harmed. We're saying Ryan Reynolds' reputation is harmed. So what the hell is she on about? Because I'm confused. Because her claims started with, I was sexually harassed and they are retaliating against me and smearing me. Now it's, I was sexually harassed. Well, then it was, I was sexually harassed and they're retaliating against me and my husband. Now it's, there's no mention of, you know, we don't even know what happened with the sexual harassment. Now it's, well, everyone's trying to smear Ryan Reynolds. It makes no sense to me. We are so far away.
That was very.
Sorry, go on.
No. I mean, yeah, that was definitely a very just another example. And I feel like it's so much, and it's crazy that, you know, Wayfarer's legal team is going to have to, you know, cross-reference like every freaking sentence and make sure that it's not like altered or just because she has no story, like she has no claims. It's so crazy. And I don't know. I mean, I know the judge can't do anything at this point, but I mean, at least like tone down those like content creator subpoenas, because they're all saying the same thing that we saw in the exhibits from Blake Lively last night, where everything she posted, I don't know what she was trying to prove, but it if anything, it proved that Wayfarer, the PR and everyone was saying like it's all organic, like she's doing this to herself. There's at some point Jen Abel's like stand down for the Hollywood Reporter article where they're getting it wrong because like the public is correcting it, and it's better to watch them do it than us have to do anything. And it's all it just proved the point, and everyone's like protective order who had been subpoenaed, who like you and Ashley and Cassidy and Lauren and the Pop Diaries have filed with the court to be like, this was all organic. You need to shut this down. Like what she's doing is insane. And thank goodness, like Perez, people can say whatever they want about him. He's made it even louder to be like, what is happening in this court right now is crazy. This is not how our court should be used. And, I don't know. I think that, hopefully everyone will wake up to Blake Lively.
You can say what you think about whatever you want about Perez. I like Perez. I do too. Would I word things the way he does? No, I've been very honest about that, but that's because, I come from a professional setting too. But and I know it irritates some people, and that's absolutely fine. That's not how they would deal with it. That's fine. When you're going through it, you kind of deal with it how you feel you need to. And he did go too far.
Well, at the end of the day, though, he's a victim of hers as well. And
he's a victim, definitely. But at the same time, being subpoenaed, it's part of a process. Whether you don't like it, of course you don't like it, and it's inconveniencing, it's stressful, but it is part of the judicial process. It doesn't necessarily mean you've done anything wrong. It means that we think you may know something about this and we would like this information. That's all that is. No, you're not being sued. So when we say and I'm saying this as someone who was subpoenaed myself, I think it's a strong words to say he's a victim of Blake. Well, he is in many ways, because it's bullying doing with the children's photos and things is disgusting.
Exactly. That's a threat. I mean, I don't care.
Yeah, that side is problematic. Just the mere act of subpoenaing him.
Yeah, but they lied they
did that to all of us, to be fair. But he was coming on too strong at the start, and the judge slapped him down, and that was the right thing to do. And he's listened to that. He's taken that on board because he had to, because contempt of court is a big deal.
Yeah,
he has toned it down. Right, and he's now making coherent arguments, and I strongly admire him. And he's made huge, impressive rule changes too. Like now the judge has changed the rules so that people, when they're filing things, they have to be mindful of keeping personal information redacted.
Well, and I think my only point was just to say that, like, it's taken a village to try to expose what's happening here and to shine a light on it. And just like Perez, like you guys and all the other filings for the protective order have all said, like, our opinions, they were organic. We started following this case, like, after the lawsuit. And so you have all these other people on the docket that she brought into this case saying like, this person is crazy. She's lying. This whole thing is a sham. And so we'll see, what happens.
Cassidy also made all of these arguments too.
Oh yeah, no, I said Cassidy, you, Ashley, Cassidy. She's like I love her sassy. She's like a wordsmith. She can be like, but she does it in such like a professional way. Like she's sassy and professional. I absolutely love reading it. I mean, you are too. I mean, everyone. That's what I'm saying. I feel like some of the smartest, brightest people that I've ever seen are the ones who've been targeted in this case. So, hats off to all of you. And, and I hope that Perez gets his jurisdiction ruling today, because that would kind of suck for it to like have to wait all the way until next week. Yeah.
I'm just going to answer a couple of questions as well. Hens Homestead, can Steve go after Blake or her attorneys for causing undue harm? Probably not, because it was all done during litigation. So she would be privileged on that point. And CJ, that's not how you spell my name. I'm supposed to be your best friend. Diddy had in Diddy a lot of people who answered yes to DB still made jury. Yeah, there's no hard and fast rule. I think it depends on the arguments. I just think that people who say yes, I've experienced sexual harassment, it depends on the circumstances, because they'll be asked a few deeper questions about it.
Yeah, they'll get like a questionnaire and go through that.
But I think depending on the circumstances, they should be considered to be. There should be a consideration given to exempting them. But it's certainly not a hard and fast rule at all. Sorry, I am chewing a mint at the moment because my blood sugars are a bit low. So,
well, we've been going for a really long time. Like, I might actually have to get going in like the next, 10, 15 minutes. But
that's fine. I'm happy to wrap up there. Got a few questions. I'm just trying to get to them now. Do we know what happened to the motion to compel Van Zandt to produce documents?
Yeah, that that's on the Jones docket, and from what I saw, it was granted, and I think their deadline is today. So expect to see some kind of filing next week where they say they didn't get anything.
Yes, I know your keyboard type. Yes, I do. Still not accepted. You could have just gone with Elsa. That would have been much smaller. Oh, bless her. I love her. Yeah, exactly, Lara. Oh, exactly, Lara. I'm just looking for more questions. What? He did get Nevada jurisdiction. Yes, Rosewild. We think he did, didn't he? I think there was a bit of, it could have been interpreted either way, but I read it that Nevada was the jurisdiction over that subpoena, and it should be anyway, because that's where he resides. Yeah. So compliance should be there.
Yeah, that's how I read it too. But so now it's just a matter of,
I think some people were like, because it said, oh, well, blah, 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 this case is in New York. And then the next line was like, compliance should be in this jurisdiction. It could have, some people were like, oh, does that mean that they're saying it should that New York, because they were just talking about it? That's what they mean by this jurisdiction. I don't think so. Otherwise, they would have said that jurisdiction, I think.
I agree with you. And also, because the one that was with his filing in New York, like when he responded to the cross motion to compel with the jurisdiction, one of the exhibits was the letter version of that order, which was a little more like, it was broken up into like paragraphs. So you can see like, it was saying this subpoena jurisdiction is here. But he just had to like, do the proper, like serve them properly. And then, but Lyman still has to like at least rule on this stupid cross motion to compel. I would just hope he does.
But he's still got a lot to rule on, because there's still the Jones Works motion to dismiss. He's got the new Wallace one. Do you know he hasn't ruled on the Leslie Sloan, the attorney's fees and costs, is he?
I don't know. And then people were saying like James Vasuka or whatever was like going to enter the chat again. And I haven't seen him. Like, is he going to redo a statement? I thought like he's done, right? We're done with him.
In the background, there will probably still be discovery coming at him from all angles. We just saw the bit that they were arguing over. Again, like if you're only going to see it if there's a dispute over something, it needs to be settled with a motion to compel, a motion to quash, or whatever motion. So he's still going to be a witness. It's the same like, with Leslie Sloan, with New York Times, they dismissed Ryan Reynolds. They will still all be witnesses, though. There will still be stuff going on. So they're not gone. But, I mean, I kept seeing so many things about, well, what do I think he's going to, withdraw his declaration? And I did say, well, I'll wait and see when it happens then and what are the reasons why he does it. But, that was months ago. I haven't seen anything. So I think if he was going to withdraw it, he would have done it by now. But I was skeptical at the time. And I had people coming at me because I was being skeptical about it. I remember being on a live stream, I think it was with CJ, and I was really struggling with the theory that he was pressured into making a false declaration. I don't believe that. I don't, because he had lawyers. The case was in front of a judge. If there was any extortion or, coercion, he could have raised it with his lawyers, who could have raised it with Judge Lyman and said, hold on a minute, you need to intervene here because he's being, blackmailed or pressured into signing this, and it's not true. And more than that, you shouldn't be signing anything under penalty of perjury. That's not true. So I don't know. I've always, whenever I write up a post on James Batuska and his text messages and all, I've always found that he is someone who changes his story depending on who he speaks to. And my opinion has not changed.
Yeah, he does. He's good. He's very funny like that. Like, just will just agree with whoever he's talking to.
I think he just played off Sloan and Nathan. I do.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but then he got fired and or left, I guess, right? He quit or was fired.
It looks like he either quit his job or he fired. He's no longer working at the Daily Mail.
Yeah.
Okay. I think that if anything, the Daily Mail may well have fired him because he got caught lying. Because he did say one thing to Melissa Nathan, and then tried to sit there and say, I didn't say that, and you didn't ask me what I meant by that. Well, it was quite clear. I mean, you're a journalist, but you have confused the term sexual harassment with sexual assault, not once, but twice. That's pretty impressive. And then you've had managed to correct it, but didn't. Not when Wayfarer first put out a statement, not when Wayfarer dropped their first complaint or their first amended complaint, or in any of the motions to compel, or Lively's motions or Sloan's motion to dismiss. None of those points did he correct and say, oh, hold on a minute, I said that, I typed that, but that's not what I meant. He waited until he struck some kind of a deal, is what it looks like, with Leslie Sloan.
Yeah, I mean, it definitely seems that's what it seems like to me. And so yeah, I guess we'll just wait and see what he does with that. The only reason I thought maybe he would rule make a ruling for Perez was because, now that Lively's been properly served by him or properly noticed, whatever, with his motion to quash, she has 14 days to respond for Nevada. I don't think it goes on pause just because she's waiting for a ruling in New York.
Yeah. No,
but they were planning on doing that anyway. So it's like, whatever. I don't know.
And that's very true. I don't know. I don't know what people. I can't see him. I don't understand all the change in lawyers for a start, because I'm not seeing what he's doing that he needs lawyers on the docket. But there's just something about him, and I've said it. In every file and I've ever written about him. It's just something untrustworthy about him.
Yeah, I mean, you guys, I'm so impressed, with everyone again who's in this village that's following the case. So many amazing questions, and I swear, every time, even if I have a question, I get people just have researching, and they have just such so many truth-seeking people are following this. So it's just been really. Just give all my props to everyone and everyone who is here and who's listened for this long.
So I got a question here from Joe. What happens to Isabella if she does not get served the subpoena, or if they send it through other means, which is obviously what they filed a motion for, and she ignores it? If she ignores it, she's risking contempt of court. So, and that's a big deal. I haven't looked into the specific kind of penalties in the US, but like in the UK, you can face a fine or up to 2 years in prison. It's a serious thing, and I believe it's treated equally as serious in the US. I'm not sure on like what the actual sanctions are, what the penalties are for it specifically. But it's a big deal. If they can't get it they can reissue it. They could fine her. There are things they can do. They're going to try the alternative means. I don't know why she's not just answering it. I don't.
I know everyone thinks she's dodging it.
Yeah, but why?
I don't know.
Needs to say what happened.
Yeah, she just has to tell the truth. But I do think it is scary. Like if she thinks that she could get blacklisted or something to go against Ryan. I mean, I don't know, but I just think that now that she knows kind of the truth, I would feel like if she would want to like make things right, because I mean, she kind of, it seems like she was kind of one of the mean girls with Blake, and while like Justin was in the basement, and
I mean, if they can't get her testimony from her directly, the alternative things that they can do is obviously there are other casting crew. She wasn't even on set with Blake Lively, so shouldn't be much of a witness to poor Blake Lively. But there are her messages to Justin Baldoni. There's her and Brendan Sklenar did like I think it was a People interview, which they're both sitting there talking about how wonderful Justin Baldoni was.
Well, it seems like she was trying to, like, some people said that Lively appeared to have love bombed her, like with the sleepovers and like the paparazzi photos, like going out, out, even though they didn't bond on set because they were never in the same scene because she's the younger version. So I've heard speculation, like maybe, Lively tried to convince her, like, oh, did you think he was weird, or like, trying to like maybe plant something. I mean, I don't know, but I'm sure she's like, I'm sure it's scary for her, but at this point you have to be a grown up and do the right thing, and everyone will be on your side because people like a redemption story too. Not like she did anything wrong per se, but
no, exactly. And I mean, the reason she's not being served may be for genuine reasons as well. I mean, I wouldn't want everyone to kind of just assume, well, we're having problems serving her, so then she's trying to dodge. She may well be. I don't know.
It's summer. She could be on,
she
on
could
away
be
at an acting job. Like they don't.
She may have moved. It could be a million and one reasons. And her attorneys they need authority to kind of accept service of things on her behalf.
Well, her attorney did say that he was representing her in this, so she did give him permission, at least originally. So I don't know if something has changed from now to then.
There could be anything, yeah. It could be a multitude of reasons. We'll know more because I'm sure this will come up again. And we still got to wait for the judge's order anyway on whether he's going to, grant the alternative service. He should, because he's done it a few times already in this case for Lively. So he shouldn't have a problem.
LinkedIn, yeah.
So. Or Instagram.
Yes, exactly. So this one's easy. They just, said, can they do it via like phone and email? And I'm sure, that will be fine. Well, I had so much fun with you, Leanne. I have to get going.
No, it's fine.
Thank you so much. And again, everyone's questions, it's just, I love being able to talk about this with like so many people who really get it and are following it, because no one in my circle even cares. I mean, the other day, my grandmother thought that like Blake was a guy. that Blake, when I said Blake and Ryan, she thought it was 2 guys. I was like, okay, I can't talk about this with you guys. They thought Perez Hilton was Paris Hilton. I mean, it's just so funny talking to them.
Oh, wow.
And realizing like what's going in, what I'm saying, and then what they're registering.
But my stepdaughter was actually, I said to my stepdaughter, Perez Hilton followed me there. I got so excited because it's like, I've heard it's quite a rare thing, but it was like, oh my god, he's following me now on X. And my stepdaughter was like, Paris Hilton. I was like, no, Perez Hilton.
Yeah.
She knew who that was, and she got excited, but initially she thought I meant like Paris Hilton. It's like, no.
Yeah. It's just like, it's such a funny case. But anyways, thank you guys so much, and I'm sure I will see you guys back online soon.
Well, yeah, and we'll be doing this again next Friday at the same time. This is our little slot now, so it's a regular thing. We'll be talking about the week's filings. Thank you so much for joining me, though, DFJ, and for helping me.
Thank you.
Kind of go through all of this. I'm also going to call it a night because I've been traveling, and I only got home today, actually, from my holiday, so I'm tired. And thank you, everyone who came. If you've got questions, do send them to us, throughout the week. Anything that comes in while it's fresh in your mind, there's a variety of ways you can send it to us, whether it be on a post or comment on X or a message on X or Instagram, to either of us, and we will try and bring them all up if we can.
Yeah, I love when people ask me questions on X because it gets me thinking. So
yeah, same. Okay.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you. Right. Take care, everyone, and have a good evening and a good weekend.